Royal Rumble, what if? I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, we always like to do these what ifs before every PLE, every big show. We like to let our minds wander a little bit. Royal Rumble is going to be, that's the best case scenario for this. This is the best case of, what if John Cena has 28 entries into the Royal Rumble?
That'd be awesome. You can never see him. It'd just be a bunch of empty people in the ring. Anyway, we're here to answer some of the Royal Rumble's biggest questions or give our answers at what we think may happen because this Rumble has a bunch surrounding it, man. A ton. I did not include the tag team title match. I just don't think there's much surrounding that this time around.
I don't think yet. I think everybody, if there is one thing that happens, everybody kind of agrees the one thing that might happen. Who knows? But I think that's it. There's not a lot of discussion there.
Yeah, the pretty deadly stuff probably is going to happen. Before we get into the deep things, though, I do want to say come join our watch along our live stream for the Royal Rumble. We're giving away a free t-shirt, a couple of them. We enter into a wheel. We're going to have a fun time. That's going to be during the event on YouTube, COD Wrestle Pod. So just be there, plugging that real quick. Let's get into it, though. Let's start with the Women's Royal Rumble. Start with the women's. I feel like Women's Royal Rumble doesn't have as many questions this time around. Obviously, no one really knows who's going to win. There is questions as to like who is going to win, but in terms of like storylines leading into the match, not as diluted as the Men's Royal Rumble here. So, big one though. What if Jade returns and chooses her attacker or goes after her attacker? Who do you think it would be? How do you think it's going to affect the match?
Yeah, the Women's Royal Rumble, at least in past years, from what I can remember, like you would like last year specifically, like, oh yeah, I'm picking Bayley because it seemed like all roads pointed to Bayley. This year, there's up in the air.
Yeah.
There's really multiple women that you could choose.
Yeah.
And nobody's really going to be upset about that. As for does Jade return for this Royal Rumble, I think she does. I think you have Bianca and Naomi in the ring amongst some other people. I think you have Jade return. I think you have her just go straight for Naomi. As we know, Naomi eliminated Jade last year in the Royal Rumble. Pat McAfee made sure to point that out on commentary on Raw, which I think is a big hint there. I think you have her do it. I think you have her go after them. And then it's pretty much just that feud. Jade and Naomi kind of goes off. Obviously, they still have those tag titles. So Jade will cost them some way, somehow, some shape or form. We all thought that maybe the Jade and Bianca match was the one that we were going to get originally. I think now that's just pivoted to Jade and Naomi.
Completely agree. I do think we get Jade's return. I do think it's going to be Naomi. I do think Jade is going to eliminate Naomi and get her revenge back for last year. I do think that Naomi and Bianca are going to drop those titles ASAP so that Liv Morgan and Raquel can step into that role. And what better way to do it than to have Jade come back and have all eyes set on Naomi to screw them over. So I just think it writes itself. If you fantasy book that out, you have Jade return, get, boom, 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 boom. Dominoes fall. Everything lines right up. So I do think this is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Liv Morgan. Whew. Live. How the, what is it called? How the mighty fall a little bit.
The turntables.
How the turntables. Liv has, since losing the belt on the debut episode of Raw to Netflix, she's kind of been relegated to, a little bit of the quote-unquote mid-card scene. I'm not going to call her mid-card Morgan because she's not. She's still an absolute star. But Liv Morgan has been a part of the Final Four the past two Royal Rumbles. She has been Final Two in the past two Royal Rumbles. What if Liv Morgan doesn't win this year again? What's next for Liv Morgan?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much just like, what's next for Liv Morgan? What's next for Josh Allen, right? It's kind of the same thing. You get there, you're close, you're in the Final Four. You just can't get the job done. All jokes aside, I don't think Liv gets into the Final Four. I think she's just outside the Final Four. I think she's maybe the fifth person eliminated, something, or fifth to last, or whatever that would be. So I think that's where she gets. I think she's close, but no cigar again. That really, especially for me, really eliminates the thought of she could really win this, because my main thought is if she makes it to the Final Four, my thought, I don't even care about the other three. My thought would be, please don't let Liv win this, because I don't want her to go after Rhea again. And that would really kind of hang a cloud over what I think would be a really good women's Rumble.
I do think Liv's going to make the Final Four again. I just think that she's one of the most over women in the entire company, and you just kind of want her in that position. I understand what you're saying. I'm with you, though. I don't think anybody truly wants Liv to win this because we all know it'll be Liv going back to Rhea Ripley. And do we really want that again? Because at that point, it'd be almost an entire year of Liv versus Rhea stuff. And we're kind of over it, and we don't need to go in that more. But I do think Liv gets eliminated by probably Bianca, which would, add into the tag team title stuff. She'd be pretty mad about it. And given that we think that Jade's probably going to return and attack Naomi and the attacker stuff is going to come up, I think Liv gets eliminated in the final 4. And then immediately her and Raquel go after those tag team titles and she becomes a tag team champion. So she'll become a champion and Liv's going to be just fine. I just don't think she's going to win the Royal Rumble and go on the main event like some people want. And it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's going to be a great time for them to kind of maybe hit the reset button for her. Like, yeah, she can be the same character. She can have the same stuff, things like that. But give everybody a break, get her out of the main title scene, I think is needed. I think there's a lot of fatigue there. And maybe next year she can look at being, I guess, one of the favorites.
Yeah, she will always be a favorite in my mind as long as she stays to this level. Becky Lynch is coming back. That's almost guaranteed. If she doesn't show up, that'd be a big whoa to me.
Like Cody Rhodes, whoa.
Whoa, that's for you, PC. Becky Lynch is not going to win this thing, or she shouldn't, at the very least. She came out at the very beginning when they were rumored for her to get back in the Rumble. She was the early odds favorite to win it. Since Charlotte's name has re-entered, since storylines have taken over, that has now fallen out. She's not betting favorite to win this thing. But what does Becky Lynch do in the Rumble to set herself up for WrestleMania? Where does the man's trajectory go during this Royal Rumble?
That's a really great, fantastic question. And as you're sitting there talking about Becky returning, my mind immediately thinks of Liv Morgan, but we all think she's going to be in that tag title scene.
Yep.
So I'm going to pivot from that. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think she's going to go after Valkyria in this. I think that's maybe a surefire way. We always continue to talk about on here, like the 4 horsewomen need to kind of pass the torch, not necessarily be done, but we want to see them go against some of this younger talent on the women's side here. This is a perfect chance to do that. She doesn't really have any opponents right now. In the meantime, I know Ivy Nile said she's taken the title from her and all of this stuff. Like, that would be cool. Don't get me wrong, but that doesn't scream WrestleMania to me. We've seen them on screen together here and there before Becky left, and she was always that supportive friend. So you could have that like mentor student approach to that. I think that would be really good. And that would really make people care about that IC title.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Make people care about the IC title. What better way than to have Becky Lynch come back and feud with Lyra Valkyria? I would absolutely love it. Like you said, on Raw, they alluded to Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyria, which sign me up, still do that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, give that to me on like a Raw.
Yeah, but what you do is you have Lyra Valkyria eliminate Becky Lynch. That's what you do. You have Lyra Valkyria eliminate Becky Lynch, and I know that I had Becky Lynch in my final 4, so I still don't think that's going to happen. But the best way to do it would be for Lyra Valkyria to eliminate Becky Lynch, but kind of in a handshake moment type of way, where Becky looks back like, okay, young one. Nice. And then you do have Becky fall back into that role of like mentoring Lyra a little bit through the Ivy Nile stuff. And then it becomes, they eventually look at each other like, all right, it's time for us to square up and to see if the Padawan's better than the master in this aspect. And you get Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. I would love that.
Yeah, sign me up.
Sign me up. Let's get to the men's Rumble. But what about Cody and KO? I'm excited for the Rumble. And I get to make the rules here. I make the rules. The favor. CM Punk, Paul Heyman. This thing has been going on since right before Survivor Series, War Games. CM Punk came out and helped Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, OG Bloodline, defeat Bloodline 2.0. And ever since then, the favor has been clouding the Rumble, clouding the WrestleMania scene. Whenever Punk comes out, something's there. And then on Raw this week, Drew McIntyre says to Paul Heyman, tell your boyfriend I'm going to eliminate him in the Rumble. And Paul Heyman's like, oh, sure, I'll tell the tribal chief that. And Drew McIntyre's even like, no, I mean CM Punk. What in the world is this favor? What could it be? Is it going to play a big part in the Royal Rumble? Because I think so.
Yeah, to answer the immediate question of what is the favor, I don't know. I think about this a lot. I still have no idea because it's Punk, the one that is owed the favor, obviously, but I think Roman and Drew are going to face at Mania, and like Punk wouldn't want that. So it's like, I don't really know. I don't really know how that plays in, but whatever the favor is, I think that plays a big part in this match. I think, especially as you get down towards the end, Final 5, Final 6, Final 4 even, there's going to be some sort of storyline driven about, hey, the favor. Hey, you remember the favor? Paul might even be there at ringside, and Punk might say, hey, tell Roman about the favor. Maybe the favor is eliminating Drew McIntyre and then maybe eliminating himself. I don't know. But either way, I think that's the road we go to.
I 100% think the favor is going to play a part in this match. I do think that Paul Heyman is going to come out with Roman Reigns and be a manager during the Royal Rumble match, and we are going to get Drew McIntyre in the ring with Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and eventually Punk is going to look at Paul Heyman and give him the nod and give him the A-OK, and something is going to happen. I don't know if that means a swerve to where like maybe Paul Heyman and Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are actually in on this, and maybe Paul Heyman looks at Drew McIntyre and goes, it's time, and Drew goes and eliminates Roman Reigns for himself. I don't know. I'm completely fantasy booking here, but I just think the favor is going to be the story of the Royal Rumble match, and it's going to be unraveled here, and CM Punk is going to win because of the favor.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would make even more sense if Roman comes out last. Now, I think personally for me, I kind of want the buildup of John Cena one last time, building up for the Rumble. We got to wait all the way to 30.
He's coming out at 17.
I hope so. But I also like that anticipation building for 30 would be cool. But in terms of like Roman coming out, like that's a big star obviously as well. I don't need to say that. But to make it less weird, so Paul Heyman's just not ringside for most of the Rumble match, you push that towards the end there to where it doesn't really seem so out of place. To where you can kind of maybe hide the favor for a little bit. And then as they start dwindling down in the ring, that's where you do it.
It could be something as simple as early in the night, we do some sort of, back in the day, they used to have the golden drum. They used to have the drum where they pulled their numbers out.
I do miss that.
And maybe it's early on in the night we find out Roman pulled 30 because, of course, the tribal chief pulled number 30. And then halfway through the Royal Rumble, we get a scene backstage, and it's Paul Heyman shaking his hands, and my tribal chief, it's time to cash in the favor. And then you just, maybe how crazy would it be if CM Punk pulled 1? And they switched. And so Roman goes from 30 to 1 and Punk goes from 1 to 30. A big favor like that. I just think that the possibilities are endless, and I cannot wait for it to be part of the Rumble.
Yeah, I wouldn't sign up for this because people would be absolutely pissed off. But like, let's say Punk somehow gets eliminated early and he's like, hey, I want my favor, and he takes Roman's spot. I think it's going to be that big. Like, it's going to be that big of a level.
I agree.
I don't know what it is. Like I said, we're just kind of throwing ideas out there, but it's going to be that impactful. 100%. It's not just going to be some small thing.
Completely agree. We mentioned John Cena, so let's go ahead and do it. John Cena, this is his last Royal Rumble. It's one of his first lasts, right? Man, tears are going to be cooking in my eyeballs, man. What would you do with this? Are you going to give John Cena the Royal Rumble? Should you give John Cena the Royal Rumble? Do you think that his character, his presence, the history that he has with wrestling, do you think that should take precedent 1 year over everything else? Give him the Royal Rumble, get him to WrestleMania that way? Or do you think that this is sort of like one of his moments of, the proverbial like going out on your back, but Royal Rumble style? You have Cena get close but no cigar.
Yeah, I'm going to go close, no cigar on this one.
Yeah.
I think it just really builds that up if you have Cena come out, you say 17, wherever you really want to. I don't know where he came in at his first Rumble. Maybe you do that, whatever number that was.
No
idea. So maybe you do something like that. I think you have the anticipation building up to where everybody's like, oh my God, he's going to do this. He's going to do it. And then he gets eliminated. Ever since that happened, or ever since I thought of that, I was like, that's what they should do.
Yeah.
Because then Monday after the Rumble, he can come out and be like, I don't know if I still got it anymore. I don't know if I can do this. I was so close. Like never really give up. Like you never say never, but I don't know if I still got it anymore. Eventually you have him go down the road and he goes into Chamber. I think you have him win Chamber. That way you give him the match. I know you talked about the history, the legacy, the character of John Cena. Does he deserve a Rumble win? If they gave it to him, wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
If they give him the Chamber win, not going to be mad. You can put off some of the stuff for John Cena. It's John Cena.
Yeah, I agree. I've made this point in the past, and the reason that I would be, obviously, like you just said, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be popping like a little kid. I'd be the 8-year-old boy again. But the reason that I think that it would just be in bad taste, even with, he has enough stock to give him it, would just be, we just had 2 years in a row of Cody Rhodes. That felt like the for sure winner. and the for sure, like the last 2 Royal Rumbles have gone to one feud and one feud only. It's been Roman, Cody, and there's been a little debate on who's going to win. Last year, I mean, I guess some people thought CM Punk just because he was back. But like, we've been so focused on one rivalry for 2 years now. I think that we need a bigger, we need an actual story build up out of Rumble for once that is new and fresh versus like, you know, it's John Cena. As much as 17 sounds like a cool idea and the Rumble could get you there, I think there are still 1,000 more ways to get Cena to WrestleMania and go after number 17 than steal some big moment that somebody else doesn't have that he already has.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great chance for him to work with some of this younger talent, I guess, for the first day and maybe last time with some of these guys, because he's not going to get a chance to work with everybody here.
Yeah.
Great chance for him to kind of be in maybe early on in the night, early on in the match, so then that way you can have him interact with all these people. I mean, you got to have him and R-Truth interact some way, somehow in this. I don't know when else you get it if it's not here. Yeah. So give me a double 5-knuckle shuffle.
Oh, yeah. 20 knuckles down. They're going to do, it's going to be 4 people laying on the ground. Let's move it on here. We have a lot of questions. You know what? This is fun. We're fantasy booking and let's enjoy it. Final boss, The Rock. A lot of rumors about him come out at number 31, you know, making the rules. I mean, he is the boss, right? He can do it. He's the TKO majority owner, not majority, but he has a good majority of it compared to other people. He could do it. Do we think that the final boss is going to show up? Do we think that we're going to get the final boss winning the Royal Rumble going after Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, if you had asked me that maybe 2 months ago, I would have said, I really like this idea. I really think this idea is cool. I really think that would be some way to get some great heat, as we always talk about with The Rock. I mean, that final boss character too was fantastic. It was great. Yeah. You just talked about all the stuff going towards Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Well, this would just be going towards The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and it would be like, man, you kind of seen it a little bit, not fully obviously, but you saw it a little bit last year. You don't want to see it again. Plus, the big important thing, obviously, that everybody knows, him coming out on Netflix, it was no mistake. He did all of that. He kissed the babies. He took his vitamins. I don't know. He did all the cool corporate stuff there. And
eyebrow raises.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got a little bit of that, but you didn't get anything final boss like. So it's like, okay, I think maybe all of our thoughts and hopes with that are maybe just pushed away further down the road, or who knows, maybe that doesn't come back. I don't know. I just know I would bet it's not at the Rumble.
It's not happening. And I think that the reason it's not happening is because 2 things. I think Netflix was telling. I think The Rock is not in final boss form. I don't think he is. I don't think he's ready to wrestle. And then second, I think WWE has done such a spectacular job of forming a bunch of long-term storylines that people want to see other than that. Sure, we would love to see Roman Rock down the line. Of course, we all want to see that eventually, but there are so many better stories happening right now and that are this close to taking off, and a Rumble win for this person or this person could just blow it up into this huge story that, like, The Rock coming back, winning it, facing Roman, it would feel like, well, what about all this other stuff that I kind of wanted to see instead? Like, it's good to see a Rock, but Jesus, you know what I mean? It would feel like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Couple more things.
Couple more.
Solo Sikoa, speaking of the Bloodline, speaking of Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa walked off SmackDown after losing to Roman Reigns, after losing the Ulafala to him. Didn't say a single word, just walked off. Makes me think Solo Sikoa is not showing up to the Royal Rumble. I think that he will not be there. Do we think Solo Sikoa is going to show up? And if he does, what is he going to do?
I think he's going to be there. I'm against your thought of him not being there. I just think it would help the story. We talk about intertwining stories and long-term stories. I'm talking like you now. That Solo also plays a huge part in that with all these different people. I think you have him come out, but maybe it's not the Solo Sikoa we know. That Solo Sikoa that kind of walked away with his head down. Maybe that's what we get. We get him. He comes out to the ring. He kind of goes through the motions. And then maybe he gets in the ring and legitimately, maybe he just is like, no. And he just steps over the top rope. Maybe we get something like that. I think we get something really character driven for Solo here. Now, I don't expect to see that same Solo we saw pre-Roman. I think you really lay into the Solo being unsure of himself, Solo not really knowing what's going on. You have Jacob Fatu. Maybe Jacob Fatu slaps the hell out of Solo and is like, hey, what the hell's wrong with you? Maybe you get something like that.
I slapped you, Solo. I don't think he's going to show up. I think they're going to really lean into this story. And I think we're going to be like, where's Solo Sikoa? And that's going to be a storyline leading into WrestleMania. If he does show up, I think in one way, shape, or form, he's going to come face to face with Jacob Fatu. And Fatu is going to either clear the ring for him or kind of, Fatu will do his I love you Solo and look at him in the ring. And then I think you're right. I think Solo will kind of just look around and eliminate himself, walk out. Same thing, get over the top rope. And Fatu's going to be like, what the hell is wrong with my tribal chief? And then that's going to start the rumblings. And then we're going to, snowball down the hill. Fatu, Solo Sikoa, head into WrestleMania like that. So but I still don't think Solo's going to show up. I think they're really going to lean into that story of him just kind of being gone. Solo's gone solo, riding solo. Gotta. Anyway, let's move it on here. Let's do one more. Let's do one more big one. And I'm going to combine it because it could be a story. This is going to be a story within the Rumble and the Cody Rhodes match, I think. Kevin Owens has now officially made it known that he is going to have Sami Zayn's back during the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens wants him and Sami to square off at WrestleMania for that title belt. Does Kevin Owens help Sami Zayn during the Royal Rumble? And if he does that mean Sami Zayn is going to come help Kevin Owens during the ladder match against Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, I've been saying that I think the men's Rumble goes on first because there are so many stories that kind of intertwine together. You get that kind of going out of the way there, I guess. And then you got to have it go on early for the potential stuff with Sami and Cody in the end. So I think Kevin does come out. I think Kevin run out. Maybe he helps him eliminate somebody, or maybe he saves Sami. Maybe Sami's almost eliminated. Kevin Owens catches him. I don't know, something like that. Like something like, what was that, Otis and Mandy Rose or something? Yeah, something like that. Do that same thing. Why not? Something like that. I think Sami does get saved by KO, and he really starts to kind of question that stuff. You go fast forward into the KO and Cody ladder match. I think you do get Sami interfering. I think you have a real moment where you have you have Cody and KO on both sides of Sami, and he's got to make a choice. I think he does choose to help KO kind of repay that favor. We've seen all these accidental haluva kicks. I think we get one for real here. I think we get one where he really kind of stands behind it, and he finally does full-on turn there. It's happening too many times to be a coincidence at this point. Plus, I think you could further that. I think Punk comes out at that point and maybe saves Cody, and that's how Cody retains, and nobody kind of loses stock there.
If the Rumble match goes on first, this is happening. I think Kevin Owens is going to save Sami throughout the match, maybe eliminate somebody, maybe Seth Rollins or somebody. I don't know, continue that story in one way, shape, or form. And then during the ladder match, Sami Zayn's going to come out. He's going to help Kevin Owens. You're right. I think he's going to give Cody a real haluva kick. And then whoever wins the Royal Rumble, probably CM Punk, in my opinion, is going to come out and help Cody save the day and eventually get that title belt. But it's going to be the official start of a new era for Sami Zayn, and probably the start of that sword shield group faction that we think is coming with Sami, with Kevin, with Drew, and maybe Seth Rollins. So I do think that's going to happen here. But Cody Rhodes is still going to get that belt, baby. Cody Rhodes is still going to get that belt. Cody must pose, baby. Cody must whoa. How about that? Like that. Fireworks. You think Cody Rhodes gets more fireworks after winning than the Royal Rumble winner?
No. because I think that WrestleMania sign, you can't account for that. I think that's an extra added part for whoever wins the Rumble.
You're right. Cody's not getting the sign.
Yeah.
If
Cody gets the sign as well, we're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
You're never losing.
I know we talked about this as more what ifs and not really so much predictions, but I'm going to throw this out there because it popped in my head. I'm not even going to start with a what if, but I think we get a tie for the record of fastest elimination ever in the men's Rumble. Santino Marella, I believe, has that currently.
And it's
Giovanni Vinci.
Yep.
I'm standing behind it. I'm standing on it. I think maybe Jacob Fatu, the clotheslines, Giovanni Vinci. I don't really care who does it, but why not? That'd be cool.
What if it's reversed? What if Giovanni Vinci eliminates Kaiser that quick?
Oh, that would be bad.
We don't like that. Tiffy wouldn't like that.
That's terrible. They should have both champions in terms of Tiffany and Rhea come out and watch the Women's Rumble.
Well, what was it? The Rousey year, they had both champions come out to the ring after the match.
Yeah.
And
they should just like sit like commentary side.
Yeah, I would love that.
Something like that. I feel like you would take, they do it all the time with like, oh, I want to see who's my number one contender or whatever. But take a vested interest in 30 women.
Pat McAfee. Oh, Rhea, what'd you think about that? Well, mommy's always on top. 20 minutes later, Rhea, what'd you think about that? Well, bloody Ripley. Okay. Enough mic. Enough mic.
Tiffy, what'd you think about that? I don't know why the clock says 10. It's always Tiffy time.
Pat's just like, God damn it,
That's
these women.
exactly what it is.
Anyway.
There's a real shot that the Tiffy time thing happens now that I said that.
She's going to say that. It doesn't matter who's 30th in the Royal Rumble because it's Tiffy time no matter what. Oh, Lord. Anyway, if you want to come watch the Royal Rumble with some wrestling pals that would love to have you and you want a chance at winning a free t-shirt, which is also pretty cool, come watch our watch along, our live stream during the Royal Rumble tomorrow. We're going to be right here on YouTube. Just come watch, have some fun. Let's make it a party in there. And follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePie, at COD WrestlePie. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, etc. And if you want to come talk to us, go hit our link tree in our bio. It's got all of our links. Comment, like on all of our socials. We love talking to you guys there. And we have a Discord as well if you want to come talk to us personally. So until next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins Destruction Wrestling Podcast. And we will see you next time.